Shalom everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you are all doing well. In today's video, we'll be going over the case of Marcus Fakana, who is an 18-year-old boy from London who is currently being detained in the UAE, potentially facing charges up to 20 years in Dubai's prison. And this was because he was on holiday with his family, met a girl that he fell in love with, and they slept together. And because he was 18 and she was 17 years old at the time, he could be potentially facing up to 20 years in prison in Dubai because of that. Before I get started, I have a very important message aimed towards Black people at the end of this video, so please stay tuned and watch the full thing because trust me, you're going to want to hear what I have to say. Anyways, let's get started with this video. So it says here, 18-year-old Londoner detained in Dubai over relations with 17-year-old Brit. So that is him there. And further on it says, an 18-year-old Tottenham resident's holiday with his parents has turned to a months-long ordeal that could lead to 20 years in prison after he was charged with relations with a woman who was 17 at the time. She's now 18. Marcus Fakana joined his parents for what was supposed to be a short holiday from the 26th of August. During his vacation, he met a fellow Londoner staying at the same hotel and a holiday romance blossomed. They tried to spend as much time as they could together during their trip and got along so well. They hoped the romance would continue on their return home. We had a wonderful time together. We really liked each other, but she was secretive with her British Indian family because they were strict. My parents knew about our relationship, but she couldn't tell hers. She had to meet me without telling them it was to see a boy, Marcus recalls. So initially when I heard this happen last week, I knew that he was arrested because he's Black and because he's in a Muslim country. I knew that was why. And then second of all, I said, he must have been messing with these Gentiles. I know he messed with somebody that wasn't Black. He messed with either white, Arab, or either way they're not Black. That's one thing that I knew. And then when I found out she was Indian, I was just thinking like Black people will go with anyone and everyone because we are the only ones that don't see an issue with interracial relationships, even though it has been a disservice to us for many years. And the issue that I have with a lot of Black people is that we like to be selectively blind when it comes to different things. So for instance, when it comes to interracial dating, they'll be like, well, it doesn't matter. It's just about preference or your personality. I'm not dating the race, it's the person. But then when it comes to a situation like this, when we can see that it's clearly because of his race that this is happening to him, that they can identify. Now, in regards to his parents, I just wonder if they ever taught him about the importance of being with your own people, or if they ever taught him on not dating outside of his race. Anyways, I'll move on to the next point, which says, when she left, I couldn't wait to see her again when I got home. So this is Marcus speaking, by the way. Then suddenly police knocked on our hotel door. They said they were taking me in for questioning but wouldn't tell me why. I couldn't imagine what for. I was frightened and my parents were terrified. Marcus was held at the notorious Al-Bashar police station for 3 days, unable to make a phone call or speak with his parents. They were worried sick, reports Radha Sterling, CEO of Detained in Dubai, who is assisting Marcus. He was told his girlfriend's mother had reported the relationship to authorities in Dubai after she had arrived back in London. Marcus later found out the mother had looked on the daughter's phone and found their chats and pictures. She was furious and reported him to Dubai's police. So you see how spiteful this mother is. She literally called the police, Dubai police, whilst she was already back in London because she knew that she couldn't call the police if she was back in the UK and he was in the UK as well. She couldn't do that because they were counting on the relationship continuing. So she was willing to do whatever she could to make sure that her daughter would never go back to this guy. If anything, she was probably so furious with her daughter that she wanted to hurt her, but not just that. Obviously, she wanted to ruin this boy's life. She wanted him to remember that, never mess with us. And this is what happens if you ever want to come back to my daughter. This is what's going to happen. I mean, she probably knew that something really severe was going to happen because we're dealing with a Muslim country here. So she knew that something bad was going to happen, which is why she did what she did. A lot of people are saying, did the mother know? Of course she knew what she was doing, which is why she called the police whilst he was still there. So yeah, it's really unfortunate, but at the same time, our people really don't like to learn. I'm not saying that he needs to go to prison at all. That's not what I'm saying. But our people like to learn from feeling, should I say. You know, they say, oh, if you don't hear, you must feel. That's how a lot of black people have to learn now. We don't like to listen. We like to be stubborn. We like to be blind. And then when we get hit with something like this, then we're like, dang, maybe I shouldn't have gone outside the race. Maybe I shouldn't have dealt with this Indian girl. It's sad, but anyways. Then it says, this is clearly a very strict mother to involve police in a private matter that is completely legal in the country where she lives and where the children have grown up. Perhaps she wasn't aware that she triggered the possibility of a young man only 18 spending the next 20 years in prison. She knew this. I'm not saying she knew exactly that it will be 20 years, but she knew that it would be some sort of harsh punishment. Either way, he was going to go to prison. That's one thing that she was counting on for sure. Because why are you calling the police for? What will the police do? Just give him a slap on the wrist? Of course they're going to arrest this guy, and of course he's going to end up in prison for this. I mean, hopefully he doesn't. I pray he doesn't. But that's what she's hoping that would have happened. This is why a lot of people are saying, well, did the mother know? Of course she knew. There's no way you're not going to know that. Calling the police on a crime is not gonna, especially on a young black boy, is not gonna have an effect. They're gonna punish you to the fullest extent. That's what's gonna happen. So Dubai has only recently legalized out-of-wedlock relations for tourists, but still hosts a strict Islamic legal system. The girl was just a few months younger than Marcus, and he didn't know that at the time. So how are you sleeping with a girl and you're so in love with her, you don't know how old she is? That is reckless. Since his arrest, she has turned 18, and Marcus would not be facing 20 years in jail. This is not something Dubai should be prosecuting. Now, this is really sad because he just looks like a young boy. Like, even if he's 18, some people think they're 18 and they're grown. Like, I just see a young boy here. And it's sad that this is happening to him, even though I'm heavily against interracial dating in regards to black people, because that's what I care about. I'm heavily against interracial dating. And it's still sad that this has happened to him. Like, I wouldn't want this to happen to him, but it's just sad that this is the way that hopefully that he does learn. I hope that he doesn't end up in prison. I'm saying it again because that will literally ruin his whole life. Like, his life has barely even started. He's not even really stepped into adulthood. And this is how it's starting. Hopefully he does learn, but I know our people can be so stubborn and still not learn from situations like this. But anyways, so then it says, parents will be scared to take their older children on vacation with them where they could end up losing their lives over behavior that's completely legal in their own countries, adds Sterling. Marcus and his family. So before I read on, every country has their own laws, especially Muslim countries. Like, you have to be careful when you go there, especially when, like, personally, I'm someone that I know quite a bit about Islam now. I've been doing my research, and personally, knowing what I know, I'm staying away from the Middle East. If it's a Muslim country, I am not going. And this is why I think in general, study the religion, not to join, but to learn, especially as black people. If you don't know the history of the Arab slave trade, which is slavery that is still continuing until this day in the Middle East, you can buy slaves in the Middle East and they do not view black people as human beings. They see them as animals, as less than humans. So once you know these things, then you know better than to step in their countries, and you'll be careful. You'd be very careful, unless you have no choice, unless it's for like a work function or something, then you gotta go. If not, I personally wouldn't advise black people to go there, because they don't want us in their country, for one. Unless you are there to serve them and be their slave, they don't want you in their country. They don't need your money for anything. They don't need you guys there. They'll fly out some celebrities, they'll fly out Beyonce, they'll fly out Davido, they'll fly out, I don't know, whoever other rapper or black rapper or whatever. They'll fly out the celebrities, but they don't want regular black people in there. That's just facts. Anyway, so it says here that Marcus and his family are calling on local MP David Lammy for assistance. Ms. Sterling, an expert witness herself, says Mr. Lammy MP was appointed as the Foreign Secretary in July 2024 and is in a perfect position to help young Marcus. Dubai police have the power to drop the case against Marcus and let him come home. This is not something we want to do to young people, and we ask Mr. Lammy to convey this message to his counterparts in the UAE. You see, what's sad is that he messed with the Indian girl and now you have to depend on the white man to save you. Like, our people don't learn, man. Like, why is it now that you have to be begging this guy to help? If he could have helped, wouldn't it have already been sorted? I mean, I don't know how long these things take, but we're hearing of this 3 months later. This happened on the 26th of August, around the week of the 26th of August, and it's the end of November, and we're only hearing of this now. And it just speaks volumes of like how much information they want us to know, because there's barely information on this case. We're just seeing like various articles saying practically the same thing. And on top of that, we don't know what the girl looks like. We don't know what his family looks like. Like, his family needs to be doing some more, press, because how are we going to know about what's going on? But I guess that's another thing that's happening for a reason. So here it says, right? It says, Marcus told Miss Sterling today, I'm living in Airbnbs that are costing my family £2,000 per month. They had to go home to work. They earn a humble living. My mum is a cleaner and my dad works in a warehouse. They saved for this one-off holiday and they have now used all their savings. The police demanded 10,000 AED for bail, which I've been told is not normal, and the costs are mounting. I'm here all alone. I pray this nightmare will be over and I'll be home for Christmas. Another thing I'll mention is, which might be quite offensive to some people that this will apply to, is that if you're a cleaner and a warehouse operative, what business do you have going to Dubai? Because last time I checked, Dubai is for rich people. You have to have money to go there. Now, I know a lot of people want to live outside of their means and go there and blow a lot of money and then come back and then feel the ramifications of that. But it's not even a financially wise decision to go over there, because look, it only took 3 months for their savings to be wiped out, because they've been sending the kid money to pay for the Airbnbs and food and all of this stuff. And they have lawyer fees as well. I'm gonna read their GoFundMe page and I'll link it in the description. But what business do they have going there? Because it's way too much for them to handle financially. Like, so many black people will be buying all of this designer and all of that stuff, buying cars or putting them on finance that you can't even afford, just to look like, oh, even though I may have this job, I can still afford nice things. Like, no, you can't. And there's no shame in that. It just means that you're making wise decisions based on your circumstances. You're living below your means. So a message to black people that maybe not be subscribed to the channel is that, number one, stop dating outside of your race. If you're a Christian as well, it says in the Bible, if you do not marry within your race, it means that you hate your own people. It says that in there, and I'll have that scripture up on the screen. For two, it also says that we as black people should not be dating outside, or marrying, should I say, outside of our race either. So dating or marrying, whichever one, either way, it's a sin. If you're going outside of your race, it is a sin. God even tells us that if we want to do this, these people will be traps and snares to us. If you don't know what a snare is, it's the same thing as a trap. It's just another way to catch you. Now you're stuck. Because oftentimes when people get into these interracial relationships, they only realize when it's too late that, oh snap, I've actually got the worst end of the deal here. I should have been with my own people, but it's too late because I've got 3-4 kids with this person now, and it's too late. No takesy backsies. I'm done for. This is the person I have to be with now. Or either way, I've got kids with this person now, so it is what it is. And don't get me wrong, a lot of black people, even though they have experienced, whether it is racism, whether it's the feeling of being inferior to their counterpart, they will still stay in the relationship even if it's toxic, even though they aren't being treated the way they want to be, they will still stay in these relationships. And that's the punishment that they get for lying to themselves, deceiving themselves, and thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Now, in the Bible, the Most High has a chosen nation called the Israelites. Now, these Israelites are very stubborn. Even though they were sent prophets such as Moses that gave them the 10 commandments, amongst other commandments as well. They had Jeremiah, prophet Ezra, Nehemiah, all these prophets, right? But they still did not listen. They were very stubborn. They were told not to worship the other religions, the other fake pagan gods. They still did it. They were told to not mix with the other nations. They still did it. Even though the Most High told them that if you continue to sin, I will send you into slavery via ships, they still didn't want to listen. And we can see that still today, Black people do not want to listen to the commandments that God has given them to marry their own people and to not date outside of their race, which is why He punishes us each time that we do it. And we see in the book of Joshua that it tells us that if we do want to go to these other nations, that they will be traps and snares to us. So here is Marcus's GoFundMe page. If you want to help contribute towards helping him come back home to the UK, then feel free to do so. I will put the link in the description below. And I do pray that he learns from this lesson, because look how much it's costing his family. £12,000 of lawyer fees. The initial lawyer fees are £12,000, and that's going to increase. And his accommodation is £2,000 per month. So now, if it wasn't for people coming together, donating to help him, I don't know how he would be able to make it back. I honestly don't know. So if we're able to put something together towards him, if it's in your spirit, obviously you're not obligated to do so. But yes, feel free to do so. I honestly do hope he learns from this situation, because oftentimes when Black people are pro-interracial relationships, it takes a serious situation for them to get their wake-up call and to realize that they've been deceiving themselves and how detrimental it truly was to begin with. Last thing I'll say is that I previously mentioned the Arab slave trade. Now, if you don't know anything about that, I am linking a powerful documentary in the description below. It will absolutely blow your mind away. There is so much that you don't know about. I'm talking to Black people. There's so much you don't know about that is going to be in that documentary. It's going to have you feeling a type of way about it. I'm just giving you the warning, because the things that have happened to our people, that is still going on to this day, might I add, will shock you. So I'm going to put the link in the description. Do check it out. And one thing I'll mention as well is that if you are Black and you don't know anything about Islam and the way that the religion views Black people, I would say now's the time to do your research on it, so that way you will know better than to step into their territories. Because I casually dropped the other day to a sister that I was speaking to. I was just telling her, because we were speaking on how in Iraq they've lowered the age of consent to 9 years old. And I said to her, well, it's no surprise if their prophet, married a 6-year-old. And she was like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, did you not know this? And I just realized, well, personally, before, I didn't know this until I started researching their religion in 2020. I didn't know this stuff. I was very ignorant to it. But when I started to do my research and I realized this is a very highly hypocritical but very sexually immoral religion, I started to look at the religion very differently, because from the outside looking in, just like it says in the scriptures in regards to the Pharisees, they clean the outside but not the inside. So on the outside you might see, well, very family oriented, very dedicated, very hardworking, but on the inside it's a whole other story. So I would say to look into it, do your research, don't be ignorant. And the same way I will criticize parts of Christianity, I'm not criticizing the Bible, I'm criticizing Christianity, is the same way you have to hold accountable other religions, especially when it's detrimental to your people. Anyways, thank you all for watching the video till the end. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you like what you are hearing. I will see you in the next video soon. Ya bless.